Good afternoon. My name is Catherine St. Martin, and I am here to present my comprehensive case study. Today, we are discussing a second grade, 8-year and 3-month-old student. Her name is Nina Nova. She attends Montpelier Elementary School. She loves to sew and make doll clothes. She has two younger brothers at home. Related to her academics, she has a positive attitude towards learning. She loves math and perseveres in reading. She does lack confidence in her reading, as her classroom teacher has noted. So, beginning with the assessments that were given, we have her sight word recognition, and sight word recognition is knowing a word automatically within 3 seconds. So she was assessed in January, and she knew 32 out of 39 kindergarten sight words, 40 out of 60 first grade sight words, and 0 of her second grade Dolch words. But going on to March, she was able to identify all of her kindergarten sight words, 56 out of 60 first grade sight words, and 25 out of 46 sight words. Lots of gains here. So the next assessment that was done is called the Reading Interest Survey. And this gives an indication of the student's attitude towards reading in a general sense. On the left here are a few of the questions that she answered to help determine if she preferred recreational or academic reading. So we have reading in class and starting a new book. She likes to do that. She doesn't really like the stories that are read in class, and she doesn't like answering comprehension questions, but she does love to listen to stories read to her, and she does love to read aloud in class. After tallying up her results and determining her percentile ranks, she scored a 46% in academic reading interest and 54% in recreational reading interest. And the last assessment is called the Qualitative Reading Inventory, which is an informal assessment designed to provide information about how students can identify words and comprehend text successfully. So here we have her word list assessment. Nina was assessed with level pre-primer 1, pre-primer 2 and 3, and primer words. So with the pre-primer, she was able to identify 15 out of 17 words automatically, which was 88%. And you also add on the amount of words correctly identified. And the difference between those two are that the words automatically identified were words that was able to say within 1 second, and then the words that were correctly identified are the ones that she decoded, and took a little time to figure out, but eventually was able to identify the word correctly. So that brought her total number correct to 16, which brought her to a 94 percentile. And the functional level of her identifying pre-primer words is independent. She can pick up any book with pre-primer words and read a passage independently. However, when it came to the pre-primer 2 and 3 and the primer words, she functioned at a frustration level, and this is determined by the total number correct being less than 70%. So here for the pre-primer 2 and 3, she identified 65%, which was 13 out of 20 words. And then for the primer words, she identified 60%, which is 12 out of 20 words. The test administrator gave her pre-primer 2 text level um, because she was able to identify at least 65% of those words used in the word list. And the word lists are directly related to the passages. The first story that she read was a narrative called Just Like Mom. She was able to orally read it with 95.5 accuracy and 100% acceptability. The difference between these two, just as similarly as the word list, the accuracy rate are the words that she was able to identify automatically, and the acceptability are the ones that she was able to identify after decoding um, the word and breaking down the individual sounds. So she fluently read at 33 words per minute. Her prior knowledge score was 8 out of 9, 89%. So the prior knowledge score, um, it basically it builds the student's previous knowledge on the topic. So you'll see later on in the presentation the actual artifacts and the actual questions that she had to answer. When it came to retelling the story independently, she was not able to do that, which is why she has 0% here. However, when she was asked comprehension questions, which prompt her and gave her direct questions to answer, she was able to answer 80% of the explicit questions. And the explicit questions are questions that you would directly get from reading the text. So her overall level for this narrative pre-primer 2 was instructional. Now looking at her expository genre passage called People at Work, it is in the same pre-primer 2 level. Her prior knowledge score was a 5 out of 9, which is 55%, and she was able to read the text with 93.8 accuracy. She read with fluency of 30 words per minute, so she was able to retell some of the story um, independently. And then with the comprehension questions, she answered 60% of the explicit questions. Her comprehension was below a 70%, just as the word list. Her overall level for this pre-primer 2 passage was at frustration. Her strengths were that she overall had a positive attitude and her interest in reading and learning new things. And her vocabulary memorization and retention is a huge strength. To go deeper into that, after learning words on the word list, she was able to identify them in the passage read. So, previous words that she did not know on the word list, such as why or things and right, when she saw them again in the passage, she was able to identify them. Her needs include her comprehension skills, which partners with her retelling of the stories read, her vocabulary knowledge, because even though she did make huge gains from January to March, she still is below grade level as she is only able to identify 25 out of 46 second grade words. Her last need is her phonics and decoding, as she was attempting to um, decode some of the words in the passage. She did get the initial sound correctly, but then she just used that initial sound to guess a word that she knew started with the same letter. For example, some of the miscues that she had were things and think. So they both have the same beginning sound. And instead of her looking at the end and the medial sound of the word things, she just automatically assumed that it said think because it had the same beginning sound. Identifying the beginning, medial, and end sounds is very important so she does not guess words based on their beginning sound. So, some recommendations here for her classroom teacher are comprehension activities. And this can look like filling out a graphic organizer with the 5 W's, Um, and also, before reading a text, pre-teaching academic vocabulary, and repeating uh, high frequency word teaching instruction, and then story element instruction for comprehension and retell to help build on including details, to demonstrate her understanding. As you see here, I have some Maryland College and Career Readiness Standards. So these are connected to the teacher recommendations. And for you parents, um, I would recommend that you read aloud to Nina at least once a week at night. She needs to hear stories read to her, and that helps to model fluency and model prosody, which is the way that you are speaking when you read. As the reading interest survey noted, she does love to hear stories read to her. So this will be a great end of night activity to do with Nina. And I would recommend to Nina that she reads aloud to her younger brothers as she hears you parents reading to her, she can practice reading to her brothers as well, and finding books that would interest her, starting off there and then building on her interest level from there. So some of the artifacts here on the left, we have the reading interest survey. And then in the middle, we have the pre-primer 1, 2, and 3 word lists. And then on the right, we have the primer word list. We also have the concept questions, which were the questions that built on her prior knowledge. And then we have the reading record here and here. And we have the retell as well. I wanted to add this quote by Frank A. Clark, which says, "If you can find a path with no obstacles, it probably doesn't lead anywhere." And this reminded me of Nina. She does lack confidence in her reading, but she perseveres. She doesn't give up. She moves forward. She tries her best. She has a positive attitude all of the time. So even though she is encountering these obstacles in her reading, she is going on a path to become a stronger reader. Parents, if you have any other questions, you can reach me at my email seen here, and have a wonderful day.